Welcome to the Ayyubids Civilization Overview for Age of Empires 4. This is a variant civilization of the Abbasid dynasty, so if you've played that civ before, a lot of it's going to be familiar. It is the #1 civ that I've played up to Conk 3 in previous seasons, but I'm going to assume maybe you know nothing about either civilization in case you're new to the game, and I have made this super crazy graphic for you so that you can study all of the different age up options. This is available in my Discord, link below in the description, for free because I'm a nice guy. So maybe subscribe to the channel and leave me a comment to help me out with this. But you can download this. This is in my Ayyubids channel in the Discord. Make sure you grab the AoE4 roll. And I've got channels for all the civilizations. So come on into the Discord and let's discuss. We'll be going through this in depth here during this guide. But let's start talking about what sets the Ayyubids apart from the Abbasid dynasty and what you can expect when you play this civilization, as we've got a little bit of early access here. So when you spawn in, it's going to feel very much like your typical Abbasid opening. And I'm going to apologize in advance if I say Abbasid instead of Ayyubid, because it's probably going to happen. Okay, you're going to want to lean into the fact that they excel at berry gathering, and their mills actually provide additional berries at the orchards. Okay, so you see 350 out of 250 because I've built this mill. The Ayyubids are unable to gather food from the boar because of their religion, so they've got berry bonuses. So they're a berry civilization. You're going to lean into that often, opening yourself up with a mill. If you look at their Dark Age barracks, they've got a spearman, they've got the Gulam, same as the Abbasid dynasty. Well, that'll be available in the third age. But basically nothing really unexpected. You should know docks are going to be cheaper, same as the Abbasid dynasty. So 75 wood to produce a dock. And the meat and potatoes of what you're really going to have to study and learn, and this is going to evolve as the meta adjusts, and I'm sure they'll make balance changes as well, is how the House of Wisdom and the Golden Age mechanics are going to work for the Ayyubids. So you already notice this looks way different from the Abbasid. With the Abbasid, you typically pick a wing per each age, and it provides you a bunch of different options of technologies you can research. That's not necessarily the case here. Basically, you have two options with each wing, right? So if you pick economic wing like this one, I'll never be able to get this economic wing industry. If I go for master smiths, then I can never get reinforcements. Okay, so you're going to have to choose wisely as you move through your ages, and I'll pull up that graphic to show this more in depth. But I want to call out the Golden Age. Look at this. This is different. There's 3 tiers with the Abbasid dynasty, but with the Ayyubids, you've got 5 tiers. So let's go through those. You advance these Golden Ages by building onto this influence, constructing buildings. So if I build 10 buildings touching the influence here, so I'll just spam out some free buildings we got right now. You'll see this grows, and we'll unlock Golden Age Tier 1. Boom, you hear it. And now we have villager gathering rate plus 10% for all resources. In order to get the next tier, I gotta get 20 structures, all the way up to 75, which is crazy, but that's a new thing they've added with Ayyubids. So with tier 2, you get research speeds plus 50%. Tier 3, you get production speeds. Tier 4, you get siege unit cost has been reduced, which is really crazy with 50 structures. And then tier 5, camel units attack 20% faster. So it's gonna be a buff to your camels. Now, 75 structures, that is a lot of structures connected. I almost wonder if it will make sense at some point with the civilization to actually spam out extra houses, extra military buildings, whatever it might be to get to those later stage tiers. But understand, that's how you age up with this civilization. You don't build a landmark anywhere else. You're going to choose one of these. So let's go in now to my graphic, and we'll start checking out what other options. So I've broken this down: Dark Age, Feudal, Castle, Imperial, and I'll be zooming around. And again, go download it for yourself. It's going to be easier for you to look through. This took me a long time to make. I had to screenshot all of it from within the game. So as you can imagine, it's not perfect. But anyways, Dark Age, here are your options. Okay, so you can choose 2 different economic options. You can do if you go for growth, upon completion, you get 3 villagers, and then your orchards gain 50 additional food. Now your orchards, those are your berry bushes. That's kind of confusing, but your berry bushes are going to get additional 50 food if you go for the growth. If you opt for the industry instead, it's going to, upon completion, award 300 wood. It's kind of like AoE3, you just get deposit of resources right away. You get 300 wood the second you hit the second age. Now, as you can see, with all of these, they scale with each age. So maybe I wait and then said I'm going to go to the castle age with one of these economic wing options. Well, if I choose that at that point, if I go for the this first one here, the growth, it's going to give me 8 villagers. What? You get 8 villagers upon hitting the castle age, and now those berry bushes, boom, 100 food. So on and so forth through the ages. 10 villagers, 10% faster work, and then you have 10 villagers work 10% faster. So those two are going to be the same. But that's a pretty crazy thing, like thinking about get 10 villagers and get 10% permanent faster speed. Like, I think it could either be something to either boost your early game or just really excel your eco into late game for this top one. Okay, for the second one, you're going to get 300 wood, 1,000 wood, 2,500 wood, 2,800 wood. So those are your options basically as far as the economic wing goes, and I really do anticipate some of these numbers changing because I think there's going to be some OP paths that you can take. But this very much reminds me of some of the like villager shipments you get in AoE3 when you age up. Okay, so that's the economic wing. If you want to go the military route, okay, so you got these two options, right? So the first one, which is reinforcement. Upon completion, cav units gain the ability to construct siege weapons. What? Your camels can make siege weapons? Yep. Not to mention, they've got the Sultan's Tower, the best siege weapon in the game, right? If you go with the second one, Master Smiths, the blacksmith damage and armor techs become free and complete automatically when you enter the age. Like, what? Those of other ages must still be researched as normal. Okay, so it's just for the age that you research this in. Okay, so pretty much that's going to be through all those ages. Like that blacksmith tech's going to apply depending on the age you choose it in. So, I mean, you probably want that later when the techs are more expensive, right? You're going to save a lot of resources if you do it, over here, thinking of how expensive those late game techs are. But pretty cool. And and the top one as well. Okay, you get siege. This one, let's see. The House Wisdom produces 1 Desert Raider every 2 minutes. This one makes this they produce 3 Desert Raiders every 2 minutes for this game. This one gets you 7. And then it looks like the same exact one for the extra bonus. So this is second age, third age, fourth age, and then you can get an additional wing. So that's how you're able to get all the way over there. So those are the military route. Okay, let's look at the culture wing advancement. Okay, so for culture wing, you have, for going into age 2, if you go for the advancement, advancing to the next age takes 40% less time and costs 250 less resources. So it's cheaper and it takes less time. Kind of similar to the preservation of knowledge, right, with the Abbasids. Looking at this later on, upon completion, you get 3 dervish, which is your Cambulance. It's your camel monk, and improves the unit's healing by plus 50%. Then you get advanced to the next age, takes 40% less time, and cost. I just realized I duplicated this one, so that's going to be this is duplicated right here. So that's a mistake right there. That's going to be. I'll show you that in game here in a second. Culture wing logistics. Going up to here, advancing next stage takes 40% less time and 1,500 less resources. So essentially, this is going to scale. It's just going to be cheaper to age up each age. I just put the wrong image there. Okay, so I'll fix that on the guide that you'll see in the Discord. Okay, so for the second culture wing option, upon completion grants 2 dervish and improves the unit's healing, 3 dervish in healing, 4 dervish in healing, and it turns on permanent. So that's pretty crazy, permanent healing. And then the same thing there for the last stage. Okay, so that's going to be the culture wing. And then when we get into the trade wing, we have got construct the trade wing. Every 3 minutes, a trade caravan arrives with a random selection of 4 favorable exchanges of resources and units. So you can exchange. I'll show you that trade wing here at the House of Wisdom in a second. The quality of these trades is permanently set depending on the age you do it in. So the later age you do it, essentially, it's going to give you better trade options. So depending on when you pull that up, it's going to, like, the options that show up at the House of Wisdom to exchange, those are going to be better. Okay, so that's how it's going to go through the ages. And then for the advisors down here, you've got upon completion gain 2 Addabag, which can be garrisoned in any military production building to increase the health of newly trained units by 20%. So that's pretty nuts, right? It's kind of like you Garrison a Scholar, but it's kind of gets the house. It's like Tower of Victory a bonus, like crazy. You get 4, then you get 7. So you get more of them the later you do it. So pretty much for most of these, they scale through the ages. I say the biggest difference is probably like the economic ones, where like you're literally getting percentages when you get this later on in the game, and that's pretty massive. So I'll throw this graphic, which I'll update in the Discord, and go take a look at that. But let me know, what age up options you think you're going to take. Let's now get back into the actual civilization here and everything we have. Okay, so let's go. You kind of understand how the economic ones work. Let's look at the trade one, because that one's kind of different, right? Every 3 minutes, a trade caravan is going to arrive. So let's go ahead and go for that. Okay, so you can see right now we've got some traders there, right? And I can choose to exchange gold for food, or gold for stone, or I can exchange gold for some swordsmen, or for some skirmishers. So there you go. That's going to be permanently there. Those will arrive right for the rest of the game, and I can make these exchanges. But look, you can get units really early on, which is from a trade wing, you could get military units. Kind of crazy, right? But that's basically how that's going to work. Let's pick up another random age up here to show you here. Yeah, this will give you dervish. You kind of get the idea. That's going to give you all your upgrades. Let's just show this dervish. So there they go. Those are the monks you have for this civilization, and they can pick up, and they actually do area healing. So I'll go grab a relic, and when they come back, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. But yeah, the rest of those, like, you're going to understand basically from reading that guide I made. So go check that out. Let's go ahead and build our barracks, our archer range, and our stable. And so you can see the unit roster. So what you expect out of the barracks: spearmen and Gulam, of course. That's your man-at-arms, right? The stable is going to probably be the most fun here for you for the Ayyubids. So they've got a lot of camels. You can have a purely camel army if you want. So let's take a look at their offerings here. So you can get the Camel Lancer. So it's like a Lancer, but a camel, right? Higher mobility Lancer with a more powerful charge, but less powerful melee attack. So good with the charge. Effective against most units. Don't you love that? So look at that guy. Oh man, they're awesome. Take a look at those. Those were on the thumbnail, right? And then you've got the Desert Raider. This one's much cheaper, okay? So look at this. It's a versatile cav unit that can swap between ranged and melee attacks with a toggle. It's effective against light infantry and range, and effective against cav and melee, which is kind of nuts to me. It's like it can counter like these things can counter like everything, right? You put them in ranged mode here, like boom, they're gonna get their bows out. And look at this, by the way. Can instantly swap, no cooldown. Like, what? They're cracked. So these units are just tanks. You can take out any spearmen that are having problems for your all camel army, right? And then they make cav cool. You get your swords out, and now you're good against cav. Like, what? Isn't that insane? So that's going to be the Desert Raider. And there's that lance. You can see the charge there. As far as for the Camel Lancer. So that's out of the stable. You can actually get the same unit, the Desert Raider, out of the archer range or the stable, which also makes it kind of harder to scout, right? Because you can spam these out of either building. So I really think there's going to be a lot of camel hordes with this civilization, which is going to be great fun. Who doesn't like that? And then, of course, you got archer and crossbow per normal, but nothing too crazy there, and their veterancy upgrades. Okay, so that's going to be your unit roster as far as your core unit roster. But then we've got the big boy. So let's go ahead and build a siege workshop just so you can see it here and see what's available. So your typical stuff there. Now there is one unique thing. You've got a culverin, of course, just like the Abbasid, but you've got a siege carpentry. It's a unique upgrade. Upon completion, siege units gain access to the structural reinforcements ability, which siege units gain plus 20 melee armor and plus 5 fire armor for 10 seconds. So you can get this upgrade, and it's basically going to have an ability for your siege units. And speaking of siege units, there's a unique one. The big boy on the block, the Tower of the Sultan. It is crazy. It's a ram. It shoots arrows. It's a tower. Look at this thing. Very expensive, 650 wood and 350 gold. But look at it. You bet yourself. I already went into a game and made like infinite. I made max pop of these. Like, you can do like this, right? You can go crazy. Now they do move incredibly slow. Look at this thing. It is very, very slow. 0.5 move speed. But you can see its damage. It's got a ram. You can garrison 20 units inside it, move up to a building, you know, jump out, defend it, let it keep, you know, you can get the, let's get the extra abilities here. Okay, so look at that. Gonna get additional armor, fire armor, etc. Right? Pretty cool. Look at that thing. This is probably, you can hear it. Oh my gosh. So yeah, we can make an army of these moving around. But they're very, very expensive. And talk about, okay, let's stop that. They take up 3 pop space, so be aware of that. Okay, let's see, we've talked about the stable, we talked about military roster. Looking at your economic buildings, it's going to be your usual offerings, nothing really too crazy there. Of course, your uniqueness is going to come from the age up options you choose at the eco wing or whatever if you want to get some buffs there. Let's go ahead and move up to the 4th age. You can see, like, now, look, I can hire villagers and stuff like, you know, there's still other things I can choose here. I can get my wood if I, boom, deposit wood going up to the next age, right? So these skirmishers are kind of interesting, by the way. You can only get them, these units, right? The Bayodin Swordsman and Skirmisher are only available at the House of Wisdom. So the Swordsman excels in melee combat, bonus versus melee units, weak to range, where the Skirmisher is bonus against light infantry, long range, but is weak against cavalry. And there you go. You see a free unit just came out there. And then let's go look at our madrasa. Okay, so here's your madrasa. And as far as techs go, nothing out of the ordinary. This is just the typical upgrades you would expect. Let's throw your blacksmith down and a keep just so we cover all of our bases. There's our blacksmith. There are 2 unique techs here, right? You've got the Sultans Mamelukes. Infantry gain plus 25% damage and plus 20% movement speed for 10 seconds after killing a unit. So they get basically a buff after killing units, which that's a great ability for an already diverse and strong army. Infantry increase the armor of nearby camels. So the Abbassid have camel support that the camels buff the infantry. It's the opposite for this civ. The infantry, you want to have a few infantry with your camels, and it's going to give armor to nearby camels. So I think you want mostly a camel army with infantry supporting. Keep nothing unique there. And with that, folks, that is pretty much everything for the Abbasid dynasty. They've got teak masks, the same for the Ayyubids. Sorry, not the Abbasids. I told you I'd say it. But man, I hope you guys are excited for this civilization. It will probably be one of the civs that, besides, of course, Byzantine, Japanese, I'm going to spend a lot of time with. I'm probably going to really dig deep into playing this one out on the ladder. So expect to see build order guides from me. I'll be putting them in my Discord and uploading on the channel. So subscribe, and again, go down, join the Discord, grab the graphic for the age up options, and let me know in the comments what you think, or you know, if it was helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching. Be on the lookout for my other civilization overviews, build order guides, and I'm hosting a show match this coming Saturday, the Sultan Smackdown. It's going to be Beastie Cutie versus Puppy Paw. You can see all of these civs, only DLC civs, in action, and man, you can't beat that matchup. So thank you so much for watching. Give the video a thumbs up, and I hope to see you in the next one.